Hello, my name is Kayla Samnath, and this is my final presentation for Info 244 Online Searching. The topic today is the impact of homelessness on library and library instruction. First, let's talk about what homelessness is. There has been an increase in homelessness over the past 3 decades. According to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, on any given night in January 2015, there were around 564,708 people identified as homeless. Homeless individuals vary from suffering with addiction, mental illness, veterans, unemployed persons, parolees, and victims of violence. The homeless population also varies in gender, ethnicity, and age. Some can be individuals or even entire families. About 11% of the adult population are veterans who are struggling with not only mental illness, but substance abuse as well. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, estimates that around 40,000 veterans are homeless on any given night. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, 20 to 25% of the homeless population in the United States suffers from some form of severe mental illness. Mental illness was the third largest cause of homelessness for single adults, mentioned by 48% of cities. For homeless families, mental illness was mentioned by 12% of cities as one of the top 3 causes of homelessness. Now that we understand a little bit more about homelessness, what is a problem patron? The idea of the problem patron can be seen through the court case of Kramer versus the Bureau of Police for the town of Morristown in 1992. The case centers around Richard Kramer, who was denied library services due to his hygiene and appearance. Kramer sued Morristown and the police department because he was presumably kicked off library grounds due to his appearance and odor more than once. The district judge ended up ruling in Kramer's favor with the explanation that this was an infringement upon his First Amendment rights to receive information. This wasn't over, though. In the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, the ruling was appealed. It was then stated that the library policy that focused on hygiene was legitimate because it served the government's interest of having other patrons not interfered with and maintaining the library in a clean and attractive condition. This is one case among many which calls into question the purpose of the library. It is a free public forum to anyone to alleviate their information needs. Speaking of information needs, what exactly are the homelessness population's information needs? As the homeless populations have grown since the late 1980s, so has the need for a serious inquiry into the information needs of the homeless. With public libraries often at the forefront of battling information poverty and closing the digital divide, there have been several researchers who have undertaken various attempts at better understanding what sort of help the public library can provide the homeless by looking at what their information needs are. In an early study of homeless parents, Hertzberger found many of the same information needs seen in the larger community. Hertzberger's research revealed the need to have more access to information on finances, child care and relationships, housing, health, employment, education, transportation, public assistance, and shelter. Later, Hodgetts et al. Mirrored many of the same results in a study of homeless men visiting the public library. The researchers described not just an interest among the men to use the library to provide information and entertainment, but also a need among the men to use the library as a safe place away from the streets. With many homeless having no place to go during the day, it makes sense that the library is often a last resort where they can go feeling welcomed without the threat of being trespassed. More recently, Taylor and Narayan have identified the increasing reliance of the use of social media among the homeless. Through the use of blogging and social networking sites, the homeless are able to find information that is otherwise difficult to share without access to technological resources the library provides. Next, let's talk about the impact on programs. Due to the fact that the libraries are often public places, many have developed supportive policies and programs offered to the homeless community. The ALA developed the guidelines for the development of policies and procedures regarding user behavior and library usage, which was adopted by the Intellectual Freedom Committee in 1993 and has thus been revised twice in 2000 and 2005. The guideline was introduced shortly after the Kramer case. These guidelines state that reasonable and narrowly drawn policies and procedures designed to prohibit interference with use of facilities and services by others or to prohibit activities inconsistent with achievement of the library's mission statement and objectives are acceptable. In response, some libraries have chosen to make broader policies that apply to all users rather than singling out certain patrons. Now, this has had a huge impact on library instruction. Librarians are now having to step up to the plate and teach more courses on job finding, information literacy skills, and resume building workshops. This also might bring more parents and children who might enjoy story time or even runaway teens who enjoy a teen book club. San Jose's Dr. Martin Luther King Library, which serves both the public and students, has programs such as Lawyers in the Library and Social Workers in the Library, programs which assist the homeless in negotiating shelter, food banks, employment, childcare, education, and transportation issues. Consultation is offered in meeting rooms to protect privacy of the information seeker. Librarians are now faced with not only assisting homeless patrons in finding government information, but in finding nonprofit organizations which offer assistance depending on the individual's circumstance. It also requires librarians to be more comfortable in intimate settings with the homeless information community. Librarians are now finding themselves on the forefront of government information and having to wade through policies and grants. In conclusion, the homeless population is not homogeneous. It is made up of subgroups that range from veterans, the mentally ill, youth, and even those who have been incarcerated. Their needs range from a number of things, such as shelter, transportation, food banks, and employment. This has had a major impact on library policies. They've had to bend rules that involve body odor. They've had to broaden policies to make them more inclusive to all patrons who frequent the library. Librarians are also receiving more training in regards to assisting the homeless population. I would recommend that librarians take a government information course. This gives librarians the opportunity to learn how to surf through numerous This gives librarians the opportunity to learn how to search through numerous government agencies. There are many out there that will assist the homeless. There are many programs out there offered by the government that are willing and able to help any patron get off the streets. Thank you very much for sitting through my presentation. I hope you all had a great semester as I did. Good luck, fellow searchers.